Everybody, Ray Hayden here, and this video is going to be about installing a new sink drain into our bathroom sink here. And in this video, I'm going to be replacing this metal pipe specifically because it is the stopper from a bathroom sink. We'll show you that from up top later on. But this is that thing that you pull on to activate the stopper. So the new pipe is not going to have this hole. There's actually a hole with a rubber ball inside, or a plastic ball inside, to keep the water from coming out this side. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove, there's a nut up here. I'm going to remove that, undo this nut right here, this plastic nut, and this one right here. Once I remove those, I have to put something below this capture the water so it doesn't, because there's the P-trap, and that's all it does is capture water in here. And if we drop anything into the sink that we want to retrieve, you know, jewelry or whatever, then we can take this off and get that out. That's what's going to do it. It also holds water in here constantly all the time so that we don't get any fumes back from the outlet. We don't want that. So this here was already disconnected. This is that thing that lifts up and down to open and close our stopper from above. And we're replacing this pipe with a pop-up stopper. And that means I don't need this, which means there's just going to be a hole here. And we don't want that. So we're going to replace this pipe with another pipe that actually matches the hardware up top a little bit better. This nut up here is pretty darn big. So I have a channel wrench, channel locks, which will allow me to be able to grab this and turn it. I must have a smaller version of it too. I'm going to try that first. Because if you have the smaller one working, the unfortunate thing is I gotta lay on the floor for this. Okay. It doesn't take much to loosen it up. All right, so that's really all I need to do there. Up top, I'm gonna have to do something else though. Okay, so this is gonna loosen this pipe here. All right. And this is gonna loosen. That comes off. It's got some, I'm gonna have to clean this up. Very important thing. Remember not to use the sink here to do your cleaning because you have no bottom. You have no drain. All right, so this one here is gonna come off too. They get really uncomfortable here. All right, that's off. That's off. So there we go. So that initial drop of water you're going to get. There's no stopping that. All right, so there's hair and dead skin and stuff like that up in there. We need this part, so we're going to take that off. Just kind of, there's a rubber stopper right here, a rubber grommet, and this stuff seems to have that gunk on there. That seems to be plumber's putty, and that shouldn't really be on there at all. You should use either plumber's tape, which you're not going to have there. You would use it down here on the threaded part, but it looks like there's putty in there. So I'm going to disassemble this whole thing, clean it up, and this is loose. And it's not really going to come off that way, but the whole pipe is going to come down this way. Remember I mentioned that thing, that's the stopper, right? So this stopper actually will come out. There we go. This one here has a hole. It actually has two holes, whichever one's going to fit to make the job work for us on the stopper goes. And it's got that rubber seal on it that keeps the water in the sink, right? But when you take it out, now it's just a hole. All this stuff, actually, it's not that bad. I'm looking at it now. It's just basically looks like corroded or messy, putty, painter's putty, plumber's putty kind of thing. And they use that to kind of seal everything off instead of using, the tape. All right. So this got kind of ripped off. This was just placed in on top of this. And I think when I clean all this, I'm not going to use this again. We're using something else. But when I clean this all up, it won't look that bad. So I don't know why they put this other one in there, unless it was like a color change or something like that. But the pipe itself looks pretty nasty. Not really going to do anything with this other than maybe throw it in the trash after I clean it up. I don't even want that stuff in my trash. So All right, so we're gonna go clean this up. Then I'm gonna come back and clean this up, but I have to have something underneath because right now there's nothing down there. It would make for a big mess. I'm gonna switch the phone over, my smartphone over to a different tripod so we can clean this other stuff up. This one here looks pretty bad. This is the original one that we just pulled out, and I'll talk about that in a minute. All this crud and stuff like that that's on here, some of that might be like skin, washing hands for 20 years or whatever, some of that, but a lot of this stuff, the brownish stuff, that's plumber's putty. That shouldn't be on here at all, but lo and behold, it was, and it makes a sticky mess. And I'll show you when I was cleaning things up, we keep our old sponges, we don't throw them out until they're like this, and then we throw them out. But it's got all this gummy mess on here. And it's kind of like you're walking along, get gum stuck to the bottom of your shoe. It's really nasty. It's really difficult to get off, but we're throwing this in the garbage anyway. The thing I want to point about, and I bent this usually comes straight out the back. This is the lever that lifts the original stopper up and down. So you want to close it down to keep water in the sink, and lift it up to let the water out, and then it sinks out through these holes, or seeps out through the holes, and down the pipe it goes. On top of that, okay, well, I guess on top of this too, kind of go like this, right? This first one is for beauty. It's just a surface cover kind of thing, and that doesn't need to be there at all. And it's not really made that strong. It bent when I just kind of picked up with the pliers. And then this is the original one. If I had cleaned this one up really well, if I had taken it out and cleaned it up, it would actually look pretty good. I mean, this is a pretty solid piece of steel, or stainless steel or whatever. And it would probably look pretty good. But the thing, I guess, it didn't match. So it doesn't match. Maybe the faucets were changed before, but they're kind of like a gray and gold color, kind of chrome gold or whatever. And that one there, and they probably wanted something like more yellow to match it. And this one here, when it was in its prime, was probably the right color for that. So, but it's a big mess. And here's the original stuff. The original pipe, I want to mention this here. This is usually straight out. And this is the reason actually why we have to pull this out. We're going to put a pop-up stopper in here. And there's a little plastic ball right there. That's the thing that keeps the water from coming out this hole. But because we're going to have a pop-up stopper, we don't need to lift this little pull thing up here. We don't have to do that anymore. So we don't need that. So we don't need this. So we're going to have a hole in the back of the pipe. Instead of having a hole in the back of the pipe, what we really want is to, get a whole new pipe, right? They do have pop-up stoppers. If you have a drain, you can remove that, and it doesn't have that little stick coming out the back, that little for the stopper. And you can just drop one of these things in here. They kind of come out looking just like this, and you drop it in there, and that's it. And that's your pipe. That goes straight down to the pipe, to the, the P pipe and all that kind of stuff, the P trap. And it gets, P is in Papa, the letter P, all right? It's a bathroom, but let's get straight here. Anyway, so that pops down. Even though there's a little ridge there, I can still reach down there and pull this straight out, all right? That's the way it works. And that's a little trap to catch hair or whatever. If any hair gets caught in there, you just pull it out and clean it up and be done like nobody's business, we like to say, right? Now, the other thing I want to do is, this is going to be something that goes on the bottom, and this stuff here goes on top. But I need to have this on the bottom because this is going to go in there and tighten up really well on this. This has threads on it, and this screws on. And you see it's like a big nut on there too, right? So that screws on like that, and it goes up. So anyways, this big nut just screws on here, but we need this very large rubbery thing. And what this does here, see it squeezes down. This locks up the bottom to make that waterproof. So we don't need any plumber's putty all over the thing and making a big mess with that. There's no reason for that. And there shouldn't have been a reason for it back in the day, 20 years ago, whenever they put that thing in. They shouldn't have done that. They should have used either the painter's tape, the plumbing tape, not painter's tape, plumbing tape. It's that little thin white tape, and it just really rides in the ridges, okay? Rides in the ridges there and makes it kind of more water resistant. But if it's done right and made right, and these things usually are, then they can be stopped up right there to prevent water from leaking out. So all we have to do on this one here, I don't know if we can see the hole. There's the hole right there, right? So this pipe will just fit right in here and just drops down in there like that. And then from the bottom, we put this gasket on there, or grommet, whatever, and then we just screw, that's all threaded inside there. You see the threads? Okay, so that's just gonna go in like that, and that's gonna squish up real tight against the bottom of the sink, and that's gonna clean that out, all right? I wanna mention one more thing. At the bottom of the sink, this kind of had to go up through the bottom, okay? And the rest of it had to go on through the top. And that was this part here, because that's threaded too. That's threaded on the inside. This is the old one that's threaded on the inside. So this screwed on at the top, and then this, you know, this one here, this whole, there's a nut down here at the bottom, and a washer, and a rubber washer. There's a metal grommet and a rubber washer here. All of this pushes up on the bottom of the sink, and that squeezes that, you know, nice and tight like that. Here, the thing that's going up through the bottom of the pipe is, or up through the bottom, is not going up to the bottom. The thing that's going down from the top here is the entire pipe. So it's like this entire thing, this has to go up from the bottom and then have stuff put on top. This entire thing goes down from the top and then right through the hole, and that makes it a whole lot more easier. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to hook this up, and I'm going to show you what it looks like when it's connected up from the top and bottom, okay? All right, and with that, by the way, if you ever have a problem with something like that, go with the instructions that came with your item. If, for example, the instructions didn't come with your item, check the item out at the manufacturer's homepage, or if you bought it like from Amazon or something, go to the item page, and sometimes the item page will have the instruction sheet right there. Just click on it or look at the pictures and everything else. It'll actually show you how to do it, all right? So let me get this connected up, and I'll show you what that looks like when I get it attached. Okay, so my wife, Miss Demeanor, my wife, she came in and she helped hold this straight. There's two holes, 180 degrees apart from each other. And she basically had this thing here. I set her up with this, and I put that into the hole, and I said, just kind of hold that thing still. And she did a fantastic job with that, as always. Now, I had picked up a set of these, what these are these caps and new of these for other projects we were working on. What I just wanted to do, and they have two kinds of things in here. They have this one here, okay, it kind of looks like, you know, it's got a beveled side to it. And then they have this side here that doesn't, okay? So this would go into a pipe or something like that, kind of sitting in like that in a pipe. If it fit, you know, if it fit, you can use that in that situation if it's called for it. It's not called for in this particular instance, so we have this type of device. Now, this type of device, this one here happens to be a little bit smaller, so it doesn't really fit. It's like this one, okay? So this can replace this, but not necessarily this one here. So that's the issue I'm going to deal with now, is one of these things has to slide on here so that I can get a water tight seal. So I do want to actually try this one. These two are the same. Oh, you can't see them. This red and white one here are the same, and this one here is a little different, and that fits perfectly onto this pipe. Now this pipe is going to connect to the sink pipe, and then, so I have to slide one of these screws up on there, and then that'll screw down onto this, and then this one here screws into the P-trap, actually this side of it right here, all right? Now what this is this is an extension to reach up to the pipe, because the P-trap right here, this is the part that goes out, you know, into the sewage system, whatever, where the water flows out from your house. And this side here just tightens down right here. I could tighten it down here, but I can also have a little bit of adjustment on it, okay? So that's what that's for. I'll show you underneath when I'm done, and you'll see how this thing's all set up. It's gonna kind of look like that against the back wall kind of thing, underneath the sink. So let's get back to it, and I'll show you the next in a few minutes. All right, let's get back to it and explain to you what I had done. Is I took the pipe, dropped it into the hole, then I had the P-trap, which gets the water out of the house or into the sewage system, and then I also had to put that little extender on there. So the extender went into the P-trap, just basically so it could reach up onto the pipe enough. Without the extender, the pipe wasn't deep enough to go right into it, into the P-trap. And it's better to have that extender on there anyway, just to give you some room to work with. And I'm going to show you in a little bit from underneath what that looks like and what we do at this point. Because right now, the only thing left to do is to drop in the stopper. And we just drop it in, push it down, and it stays down. And this little grommet right here, or washer, will keep that nice and straight. And this thing here cleans up pretty good for now. I don't, personally, I don't have any faith in anything that's not stainless steel. And let's go ahead and drop this in, and it looks real nice. Let's get a camera over there to it, right? And then push it down, and it should hold water in the sink right now. Now this sink has a hole back here by me, and that's for the overflow, and that will go out as well if need be. All right. Personally, I never need to have water sitting in my sink, but I might want a little bit when I clean up all this mess over here. That's just toilet paper I use to wipe up stuff. Some of the it's a plumber's putty. And I use that. Now that should let out pretty nicely there. And I'll look underneath just to see. What I have in there is like an old pie tin kind of thing. It's kind of corroded and stuff now. Water's out. And, you know, I had some of the residue from the job in it, you know, some of that putty and stuff like that, the drips and stuff. So what we do now, anytime we touch anything with water, is we do a leak test. And our leak test goes for a week or two or more if need be. What we do is we put some dry paper towels under, you know, we take we get the half paper towel. So we take those and we put them underneath the sink, underneath where any water would drop. And we keep everything else out or further away in case there is some kind of drip. We don't put anything under there for the first day. And then we'll start putting things under later on to just make sure if we're satisfied that it's not dripping or leaking or anything, and there's no water problem, because water is insidious and it's in these cabinets that are closed up. We don't really go in there all the time. We only go in there if we need something. We keep the extra toilet paper under there, toilet tissue. We keep that in there. We don't want that getting all soaking wet. We keep some medical supplies under there, like Band-Aids and stuff like that, and medical tape and stuff if we get a nick or a cut or anything, because I'm clumsy. So if we need anything like that, we have that. That's under there. That's where our first aid stuff kind of goes. We don't have the medicine cabinets on either side here. So, you know, that is our medicine cabinet underneath. So I'm going to clean this area up. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you underneath what it looks like and how we prepare for the leak test. Thanks for hanging out. Before I clean this up and go back, I just want to make, these are the two, like probably the largest channel locks I have, or channel lock wrenches. I don't know the name of proper tools, but anyway, so these are like the two biggest ones I have. And then I have some smaller ones. I have a couple of them about this size right here, and they're older. And, but this one here is skinny. Okay, so these are kind of maybe thinner than this one a little bit, maybe, you know, not too much. But this one definitely is. This one here is definitely thinner, and that's why I usually, when it comes into use, it's because I need to get into a tighter spot. And then the other thing I had, and I did not need at all, was the screwdriver. The screwdriver was the same idea, poke it into the sink and hold that thing from turning. I didn't need that. Basically, it was the back end of this channel lock. But for underneath, for tightening up and everything, and I'll probably have to bring these out because it's probably going to have some kind of a drip or something. They normally do. I tighten things up and they kind of self-loosen a little bit until they get seated up and then tightened up a little bit more. And that's usually what happens. That's why we do our leak tests. So let me, now I'm going to finish cleaning this up, put all my tools away and stuff, clean this up, and then show you underneath. All right, just found one more thing that we really could never see very clearly. And on the bottom of this, there's a bolt. Okay, there's the bolt you can see right there. Okay, it's got the hexagonal shape. All right, and then on top of that, there's a metal washer. This is what it looks like if it's clean, you know. And then underneath that washer, or above the washer, as it goes up into the sink, is this big rubber grommet. This is one we took off another sink, came right off. This is the other bathroom sink, the master bathroom sink, and then that metal grommet goes on there, and that helps to push that up, okay, into the slot. Now, for some reason on the new one, it just had a heavy-duty rubber silicone grommet or washer, and that's what we tightened up to that. But if need be, I could take that whole thing apart and put this on there. you know, to hold that up there nice and securely so it doesn't, you know, kind of ooze down or something or get screwy. We can do that too. Hang on a second, finish cleaning up. Oh, and these extra parts and stuff like that, if they're good, if there's nothing wrong with them, I will put them in a container and hang on to them. And there's another one right here. So we'll put these in, hang on to them. And if we need them, then we have them. If not, if they're the wrong ones don't fit or they don't work, go back to the store and buy some new ones. All right. So these are a good thing to have as an extra spare. All right. Thanks. Be right back and show you underneath. Okay. We're going with handheld operation here. The sink is in here. Water's running. That sink will fill up now with the water. I'll let the water out. Thunk. I'm going to dry my hands off here. And now I'm going to show you what we do. Underneath there, get the light coming from a different direction. You can see, hopefully, there's a paper towel under there. What we do is look for any drips, any wet spots, moist spots, or anything on that paper towel. And then we should be able to see if there's a leak or not. That water is all out of the sink right now. And let's go back underneath here again. Bounce the light off the wall. Maybe we can see it. What's going on here? All right. So this is the bottom of the sink. This white part is the big grommet that makes it waterproof at the top right at the sink there. Comes right down the sink into the pipe. This is the first part of the pipe thing here that we see. This is the extension, sorry, up here. That plugs into the P-trap right here. And that's screwed on, I'm sorry, right here. All right. This screws down on that. This is the little putty, plumber's putty that shouldn't be there. And I cleaned the other ones up. This one here I can't take off, and I didn't really want to be upside down on my back on a ridge of a shelf. So that is what it is. And then this and that. And we just watch this paper towel down here to see if that gets any dampness on it. And for an entire day, for the rest of today and all day tomorrow, we won't have any paper product or anything else under here. And then we will go ahead and slowly put things back underneath the sink while we continue to check that paper towel for any dampness. You know, this paper towel right here. And that'll stay there for about a week until we're completely satisfied that I've done a decent enough job so it doesn't leak, because I'm paranoid that way. I don't want to sit there and just say you put your old toilet paper down there and everything and it soaks up all that water through osmosis. You know, you're out a bunch of money because that stuff's not cheap. All right. So anyways, that's the new drop in, and it just drops in. So you're looking straight down, right? All we have to do is take that one nut off the bottom, that large nut, take that off the bottom, just the whole sink, just pull the pipe pulls right up through, change it out to a new one. These are the old original that we know of. These are the original faucets and valves, and then that's our new change. All right, so don't forget to give me a thumbs up, like the video, make a comment below, let me know you came by to stop by and say hi. And if you haven't already done so, please hit that subscribe button. I greatly appreciate the growth on the network. Until I catch you in the next video, take care and be well.